Happy Information Wednesday, Chalyce McQueen here. Per my teaser, I'm talking about common mistakes that both landlords and property managers make in relation to renter's insurance. Even in a practice for my insurance agency, whenever I have a client with an investment property, I always coach them through the importance of requiring and making sure their tenants maintain renter's insurance. Let's now jump into these common mistakes that landlord and property managers make. Number one, the misconception that renter's insurance only protects the tenant. This actually is not true. Obviously, the renter's insurance does provide personal property coverage for the tenant's property, which your homeowner's or landlord policy would not. But their personal liability policy does provide coverage, quote unquote, for you in the event that the tenant was to cause damage to your property, a fire, one of their guests happened to hurt themselves on your property and they're trying to sue you, the landlord. All of these, the renter's insurance will work as a policy to subrogate against your own insurance, which is great. Next on my list is not requiring renter's insurance itself. This is a huge no-no. Again, there's so many reasons why renter's insurance is beyond important for all parties involved, but you want to make sure whomever you are in what capacity you're renting out a property, whether it's your own or somebody else, I hope to God this is a practice of yours that you are requiring renter's insurance and that requirement is listed in writing and in, of course, your lease agreement. Next, I want to talk about the property itself. I don't care what kind of property that you're renting out, whether it is, a studio apartment that is $450 a month or a house that's $5,000 a month. Renter's insurance absolutely should be a requirement for you regardless of the person in the property and what the property itself is being rented for. So I want to talk about renter's insurance and roommates. So roommate situations are always risky as a whole. Typically, who starts as a roommate doesn't always end as a roommate. And so it's important that when you verify your renter's insurance for your tenants, that you make sure that all parties are listed on the renter's insurance that are on the lease agreement. If they don't all want to share one policy, that's totally fine. But you do want to make sure that every single person in that residence does have some sort of renter's insurance. And of course, you're named as additional insured. I also want to touch briefly on mold itself. So mold is not covered typically under any insurance policy. There are endorsements you can add, and even some renter's policy has an endorsement for mold itself. I would always ask your insurance company if you have this endorsement, and if not, I would extremely recommend it, especially with a condo scenario. You obviously have shared common walls, and you may not always discover leaks in a timely manner that could have happened from another adjacent unit. So definitely ask your insurance agent about the mold endorsement on both your homeowner's policy, landlord policies, and of course, renter's insurance. Last on our list, I think the biggest mistake that landlords and property managers typically fail to do is they forget to ask for updated renter's insurance. So for example, I've seen it time and time again where they will ask for proof of renter's insurance upon move-in, but never check back and make sure it's still active. I see it all the time where tenants will, again, go ahead and just have renter's insurance for move-in to satisfy the landlord, and then they immediately drop it. So it's important that you make sure that you are listed on that evidence of insurance for their renter's insurance. That way, in the event that they do cancel their policy, you are notified as an additional party. And I would make it a practice upon every lease renewal or even halfway through the lease, I would just check in with the tenant and make sure that they provide you their evidence of insurance to make sure they are still obviously covered, which in turn covers your basis. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I'm always here to be a resource for you. I've been a real estate broker for 15 years, specializing in property management. And of course, I know insurance like the back of my hand. So if you have any questions on either topic, by all means, feel free to use me as a resource. You can call me at 602-525-5665 or email me at cmcqueen@farmersagent.com. Remember to ask yourself, are you protected? We'll see you all next week.